Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. We are once again broadcasting live on Call-In, where we've been going live once a week for an interactive podcast where we discuss all things 49ers, and I have the opportunity and the grand luxury to take all of your calls. It's like Twitter Spaces, but even better, so make sure you download the Call-In app by going to chatsports.com/49ers Call-In, make a profile so you have an opportunity to call into the show, and also you have the opportunity to support everything that we continue to do and cook up for the Niner gang right here on the channel. On the show today, we're going to take a look at which 49ers UDFAs have an opportunity to crack the San Francisco 49ers 53-man roster. But before we get started, I want to hear from you in the comments section. Which 49ers rookie are you most excited about? It can be a draft selection or a UDFA. Let me know in the comment section right now. To our list of 3 UDFAs who I think have a realistic opportunity to make this 53-man roster, I want to start off with Jason Poe, the center and guard out of Mercer. What a path for him, honestly. He started his college career at Hutchinson Community College. He then transferred to Division II Lenoir-Rhyne. Then he played his final year of college football at Mercer, where he was named a 4-team All-American. Now, this guy is a social media sensation because he has unbelievable measurables. 6 foot, 300 pounds, a 4.9 40-yard dash, and teams liked him so much in the pre-draft evaluation process that they worked him out as a fullback at 300 pounds. Some of his strengths: he explodes out of his stance with rare pulling ability and quickness for his size, and really accelerates with strong strides to race downfield and take out defenders at the second and third levels. I love those attributes to his game because it fits perfectly with what Kyle Shanahan wants to do in his outside zone scheme. He also displays some really good footwork and lower body fluidity to position and seal off some defenders on all 3 levels of the football field. Now, of course, he went undrafted, so there are some concerns about his game and how it translates to the NFL level. He's a little bit undersized. He has a squatty frame with weight that is close to maxed out, so there's not a lot of opportunities for him to add weight onto his body. A little bit stubby, which can be a problem with him trying to disengage with some blockers, and it does lead to some holds in the trenches. Long-arm defenders will win easily going up against him on one-on-one battles, but I love this guy's makeup. I love his game, and his athleticism in Kyle Shanahan's offense is something that really intrigues me, and the opportunity for him to play both center and guard, 2 positions that he played at the college level, could allow him to make this 49ers roster. Are you intrigued by Jason Poe? I want to hear from you in the comment section right now on Call-In as well as on YouTube. Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. UDFA number 2, who can make this 49ers team? It's Dohnovan West as we stay along the offensive line, the center and guard out of Arizona State. I was honestly, while we were watching the draft live on the 49ers Report, shocked that West went undrafted. I had him at about a 5th-round talent. You look at his career at Arizona State, 29 games totaled, 29 starts playing in the Pac-12, which is a pretty legitimate level of football, and he played all across the offensive line. 14 games at center, 11 at right guard, and 4 at left guard. That positional versatility could allow him, like Jason Poe, to also have an opportunity to crack this 53-man roster. At the Combine, he measured in at 6'3", 296 pounds, and he ran a 5.27 40-yard dash. I would have liked to have seen the 40-yard dash be just a little bit better, but he, like Jason Poe, does a great job out in space, especially on some of those pull blocks. Now, when you look at his strengths, wide-based, workable frame with room to get stronger. As I look at some of my scouting notes, he has efficient lateral quickness as a pass blocker. He's able to shoot his hands, and as a run blocker and as a pass blocker, has really good athleticism and short area quickness, which I think is also important. Now, he was 275 pounds when he enrolled, and he steadily improved his body over time, and his coaches rave about his want to get better, and they say that he treats every day like an opportunity to improve improve his craft, to improve his body, and that's what you have to show when you don't get drafted, when you're trying to carve a rollout for yourself as a UDFA. He was also really durable, and along this offensive line, the 49ers have had some issues with guys staying consistently healthy, and going into this year, they're a little bit thin in terms of premier talent. Started 29 consecutive games throughout his career at Arizona State, a guy who Herm Edwards really loved, and started multiple games at each 3 interior offensive line positions, which is something that I had lauded Dohnovan West for just a few moments ago. Now, I did say that I was a little bit surprised that he did not go drafted, and that he lasted as long as he did in the UDFA process. And the 49ers did give him some guaranteed money, some weaknesses. Lacks ideal mass and arm length to really go up against some premier NFL defenders. He has an average anchor strength, meaning his lower body can be thrown off position at times. He did play through a thumb injury throughout his freshman year. He was really blocking with 4 fingers, he said at the time, and finally had surgery to fix that issue. But he does have trouble kind of getting underneath the pad level of bigger defensive linemen, and he can get moved off his spot a little bit. But the 49ers over time, especially under Kyle Shanahan, have done a pretty good job of developing offensive linemen. And Dohnovan West, I'm not going to go as far as to say that he is a project on this team, but he does need some changes to his game and some development to take place for him to be a long-term starter. Can he be the starting replacement for Alex Mack if Alex Mack does retire? Maybe. I think that's lofty, but I do think he has a realistic shot to make the 53-man roster. So what do you think? Could West start as a center as a rookie for the San Francisco 49ers? Type S for start or type B for backup. Let me know in the comment section. And for those of you watching right now on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to us here on Callin, because we're going live for a live podcast once a week. And if you're listening on the Callin app, greatly appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe. Therefore, anytime we do go live, you will be notified if you hit that bell icon. Third UDFA who could make this roster, and then we'll start taking your calls on Callin. Leon O'Neal, the safety out of Texas A&M. Safeties currently on the roster right now. They're a little bit thin there as well. Jimmy Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, Tarvarius Moore, and George Odom. They lost Marcel Harris, the safety linebacker hybrid, to the New York Jets in NFL free agency. And up to this point, we're not sure what's going to happen with Jaquiski Tartt, if he's going to come back or not. If he doesn't, I think Leon O'Neal, there's an avenue in which he can make this team, but he's going to have to prove himself throughout training camp as well as the preseason, because he is a little bit slow. He does have some lapses in coverage. He does play well in the box, has good instincts and good play recognition. But at his pro day, ran a 4.7 40-yard dash, and at 6 foot 205 pounds, it's not like he has monster size. But I love his competitiveness. I love his dog mentality. He's a rangy athlete who certainly looks like an NFL player in pads. He attacks downhill and has the speed to make plays in the run game, and he can really thrive in the box, and that's something that Talanoa Hufanga was able to do last year as a rookie, even though him coming out of USC was a little bit slow as well. My final question for the people before we start taking some calls: which UDFA are you pulling for? We just talked about 3 who have an opportunity to make this roster. Let me know which undrafted free agent you are pulling for in the comment section, and we'll start taking some calls. Next up on the show, to kick off our caller queue, it is Evan H. I'm going to make you the next caller. You can ask about these UDFAs or anything about the 49ers. Either way, ask away. What do you got, Evan?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can. What's up, man?
The one UDFA I really want to make the team is Kevin Atkins. I really liked him coming out of college.
Awesome. Who else do you really like among this draft class and the UDFA class?
The center one who could take Alex Mack. He's also very good.
Yeah, Dohnovan West?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Now, we talked a couple weeks ago following the NFL draft. You said that watching the 49ers Report, watching us here at Chat Sports, have helped you through some of your personal struggles. How are you doing now, my man? I want to check in on you.
Very well. Honestly, I just a few days ago, actually. I just got approved to do online college.
That's great. What are you going to study? Do you know yet?
I'm thinking about being an engineer.
That's awesome stuff. It sounds like you have the smarts to be an engineer. That's not anything that I would ever be able to do. I like to talk for a living, but thank you so much for joining the show, and best of luck to you moving forward.
Can I say one more thing before I head out?
Yep, I got you. What do you got?
Also, I was saying that it took me a while to understand this, but that Tyron Davis-Price, that running back, I could see him be like a Leonard Fournette type running back where he just gets along, get the most yards, get touchdowns. I could see him be like a Leonard Fournette type running back in the Niners system.
Hey, look, Leonard Fournette went to LSU. Ty Davis-Price went to LSU as well, and both of them had that physical element to their game. Now, I think Leonard Fournette, obviously a little bit more upside. He's a former first-round pick who was a high school sensation and had a masterful career at LSU. He was great for a really, really long time. I'm not saying that Ty Davis-Price is going to have an NFL career like Leonard Fournette, but they do play a similar style, which is a one-cut runner, a downhill running back, and I think the upside is there for Ty Davis-Price for that game to immediately translate in year one in Kyle Shanahan's offense. You look at some of the running backs that he's been able to pinpoint, and that's a perfect question to ask, Evan, because we're talking about rookies on today's video. Kyle Shanahan wants running backs who see the hole and they hit it. And right now on this roster, they don't really have that physical bell cow running back. I'm not going to classify Elijah Mitchell as that. He's more of that speed back who is a one-cut runner and does a great job of identifying some of those holes really quickly. But Ty Davis-Price is that guy who can pick up yards in short yardage situations, in goal line situations, and I think because of that, he's going to get a lot of carries in year one and prove himself to be a very good player. We're going to take another call here. I see Jonathan Page is in the caller queue. I'm going to make you the next caller. Thanks for joining the show. What do you got? Make sure you unmute yourself by hitting that microphone button in the bottom corner. Jonathan, you there? Okay, we'll go to Draco now, one of our loyal subscribers on YouTube and one of our loyal callers. I'll make him the next caller. Draco, you're up on the 49ers Report Live.
Can you hear me, gang?
I can. What's good, brother?
All right, how you doing today? Shoot. I know I already had said O'Neal, even though he had brought up that 4.7 speed. I'm thinking, like, me and Cuddy the same size, and I know I would burn him if he really run a 4.7, so hopefully that's not really what it is. Because I'm 22, finna be 23 this year. Yeah, 4.7, you wouldn't even, like, I went to college and I got recruited for football. My coach wouldn't even looked at you. But, you know, he might have some instinct, so I'm interested about that one. And as far as offense, I'm curious who gonna be the top dog, because I hear Mason, I think the undrafted running back, they said that he doing better than Ty Davis-Price.
Yeah,
So,
the running back
I'm
out of
eager to see
Georgia
both.
Tech. And what's interesting is that Jeff Collins, the head coach for Georgia Tech, actually compared Mason to Marshawn Lynch. And look, that's obviously lofty praise because Marshawn Lynch is one of the best running backs that we've seen this century. But they do have similar size. Mason is like 6'1", 210, 220, and he does bring the boom. There wasn't a ton of college production there, but when he did run the football and when he was asked to run the football, he was really impressive, and I think he's another guy who I could have included on the list of UDFAs to make the roster because he can play special teams. So that is somebody to keep an eye out for sure.
Cool. I'm eager to see. I'm eager to see who gonna be the Mostert 2.0. And I'm just eager to see our backfield go up crazy, because that's my biggest thing. I know our defensive line is crazy, but I need our backfield to be just as crazy so we can have the number one defense and not number two.
I agree, and I think Kyle Shanahan wants the same because I think he wants to run the football a lot to take the pressure off of Trey Lance because he doesn't want his young quarterback to throw the football 35, 40 times a game. So I think a big point of emphasis for San Francisco this upcoming year, it's going to be to run the football a lot because they want to take some of that pressure off of Trey Lance. Next up on the 49ers Report, we're going to go to another one of our loyal subscribers, listeners, and viewers. That is Brian Powell. I'm going to make you the next caller. Ask away, and Whatever you got, hit me with it.
What's up, buddy? Do you mind if I go back to Jimmy G?
Yeah, no problem.
Cool. So obviously when the offseason started, my plan that I would have loved to have seen is getting rid of Jimmy early and then going after a solid backup quarterback like Marcus Mariota before Matt Ryan was traded away. With that said, though, I mean, once we finally get rid of Jimmy, I just don't feel confident sticking with Sudfeld and Purdy as the backups. So I was looking at what's available, and really there's nothing. One thing that kind of stood out to me is once we finally make that decision, what would your thoughts be on bringing in a Cam Newton as a backup towards Lance?
Yeah, I'm with you, Brian. I'm a little bit concerned about the backup quarterback situation behind Trey Lance. I think last year it was ideal for Trey to be able to learn from Jimmy Garoppolo because of his previous history of winning about 70% of his starts and the fact that he's a pretty good team leader. Now, he was able to learn the ropes from Jimmy G in year one, and that was great. That was a little buffer zone and the area of development that took place for Trey. Now you move forward, and Trey has to be able to prove that he's the guy, and now that he is the guy, do you have another veteran who's going to be able to replace some of that veteran leadership and some of that veteran leniency that Trey Lance was able to use with Jimmy Garoppolo last year? And Nate Sudfeld, I've watched a lot of Nate Sudfeld because I used to cover the Eagles in my previous job, and I think it's pretty telling that some respected quarterback-heavy coaches have wanted him on their teams. Doug Peterson, Frank Reich, and now Kyle Shanahan. Now, when he throws the football, he throws a beautiful football, but it's almost like he's that quarterback in 7-on-7 who lights the world on fire and throws dimes, but then when it comes to actually playing in the heat of competition, he doesn't look like the same guy, and that arm strength isn't necessarily the same. So I do have some concerns about Nate Sudfeld as a backup, because if Trey Lance were to get injured, can he win a couple of games in a row? I'm not sure. I think he's better suited to be a third-string quarterback as compared to a second-string quarterback. So then that leads to some backup quarterback options. Could it be a guy like Cam Newton? As a scheme fit, I don't think Kyle Shanahan would go after Cam, especially because he wants quarterbacks who can get the ball out quickly and accurately. That's why he had this love for Jimmy Garoppolo. And Cam Newton, he's really struggled with accuracy throughout his entire NFL career, even going back to 2015 when he won the NFL MVP, and then especially since that shoulder injury really affected him a couple years ago, and from that point on, his accuracy has really suffered. Now, as a guy who can give you that running element and can maybe help out Trey Lance along the road, maybe from a leadership standpoint, they could bring in Cam Newton, but I don't think that's realistic at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I completely agree with where you're coming from, because honestly, a few months ago, I would have never thought of Cam Newton to come in. However, just giving the circumstance that we're in, I mean, I'm looking at free agents, and we have Ryan Fitzpatrick, Mike Glennon, McCarron, like Josh Rosen. We've already gone down that road. And so I think I'm just really concerned. And I think that's why I just kind of want to get your opinion on that, because I agree with you 100%. Sudfeld is a okay mentor, like you were saying. But if anything happens to Trey, my opinion is we're right back to where we started before Jimmy Garoppolo. I
agree. And then you're going into a situation where you're like, okay, is this our next Nick Mullins? Is this our next CJ Beathard? And
exactly.
From that point on, you really have no hope with a Super Bowl capable roster of trying to compete for a Super Bowl. So that's where that lack of quarterback depth does come into play, and I'm not sure Brock Purdy is the guy as the final pick in the draft in that 7th round, because I don't think he has the arm strength to play at the NFL level nor the athleticism to play. What do you got before I get to another call?
No, that's it. Yeah, I would have loved to have gotten Nick Foles before he signed, but unfortunately, no. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Of course, and I appreciate you for tuning into the show. I would have gone Nick Foles, and honestly, among those quarterbacks who are still left that you talked about, Brian, maybe Ryan Fitzpatrick is the best option, and that right there is saying something.